Kia ora koutou. Welcome to another edition of the Hot Air Sports Podcast, brought to you by Life Isn't Fair, the great new autobiography by me. Get it now online at vibranceGifts.co.nz. And my
It's
good
on
mate
the-
Mahona there, he's had a read.
I have.
Review, mate. Good review.
5 stars, mate. 5 stars. It's going straight to the Mahona top seller list. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's in the top 10 all the way, mate. It's fantastic. Give it a read. It's an inspiring read about an inspiring dude and someone I love very much. So he's right there. If you want to know all about him, it's all there. It's all there and more. So give it a read.
Quite right.
Yeah.
Well, the country has been in a fair state of depression for the last few days.
Sunday was tough, mate. Sunday was tough.
I guess, yeah, so was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now, I'm just going to say it right from the very start.
Yep.
I do not think the refereeing cost us the game.
Yep.
Okay. We got that clear.
Yep.
So all the bitching and moaning you're about to hear is not because, well, it is because the All Blacks lost, but it's because, yes, South Africa were worthy winners. Congratulations.
Yes. Congratulations
to the Rainbow Nation.
Well done.
Well done.
4 times. Right, let's give them a round of applause. Right here.
Quite right.
Well done.
But, and it's a pretty big but, and it's been the topic of
about numerous podcasts,
numerous sports shows, everything that is relating to the game of rugby, and that is the TMO. Mm-hmm. I noticed Wayne Barnes has come out this morning and retired from.
He has retired. Yes. I'll give that even a bigger round of applause.
But I noticed World Rugby has been extremely silent on the whole issue. They've asked the All Blacks team have through coach Ian Foster have asked for a please explain.
Mm-hmm. They must be happy.
You obviously are.
Must be happy with that as a final. I mean, what a spectacle it was, Ian. What a spectacle.
Yes, what a spectacle. Now, before we go too much further, I'm just going to read a statement I made in our last podcast when we were talking about the VAR, but this is exactly the same for the TMO.
Yeah.
All sports brought in the technology to get rid of the howler, only to be used when supposedly the on-field officials had made a clear and obvious error.
Mm-hmm.
But because humans are still making decisions, it hasn't made any difference. We still see howlers, and we see TMOs coming in outside of their remit.
We sure do. We sure did. I mean, you can't make an imperfect game perfect. There's always going to be things, that happen that aren't going to be able to be ruled upon. Look, okay. First of all, I'm sick of the passive-aggressive stuff from South African fans who are saying, "Oh, you're just bitter, we won. Oh, I'm so, you guys are just bad losers." I'm like, fuck off. I really don't care. If the All Blacks had won that, I would have been still saying what a shit game of rugby. And I've been saying it all season. Rugby needs to sort itself out. It's hyper refereed to the minuscule of everything. When the first thing was the yellow card by Frizzell, I mean, he falls over.
Yeah.
They say that he attacked the leg. We're going to check that. That might be a red. 5 minutes later, oh no, he fell over. It wasn't a red. It wasn't actually foul play. Well, get the guy back on the field then. You stuff that up. But we've got 10 minutes off the. Okay, so there's that. That's just the start.
That's the first.
And no one's even talking about that. No one's even talking about that because they stuffed up even more later on. Then there was the only occasion when I got off the couch and danced around and jumped up and down when we scored a great try.
Yep.
And even that got taken off us. Even though about 3 times during the passage of play, Wayne Barnes said, no knock on, play on.
Yeah.
Who's refereeing the game?
Well,
Wayne Barnes?
That's what Steve Hansen. It's what Sir Steve Hansen said the other day. The game's not being refereed by the man in the middle. It's being refereed on replay.
Absolutely. And if Wayne Barnes is referee, and then there was the Adi Savia thing where he was in there legally getting the ball and he penalizes us. And then he says he got it wrong before the kick is taken.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. You can stop a try. We can score a try and you can say, no, that doesn't count. But you can't stop a kick being taken.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, you lost me. The game has just lost me. I'm just, look, of course I watched as a passionate fan. I wanted the All Blacks to win, but as a spectacle, as a sport, rugby needs to sort its shit out. It's just people watching who don't really watch a lot of rugby must just go, I don't know what's going on. I don't know, just following along, just go, oh yeah.
Prime example of that, on the back page on Sky the other night, Robbie Slater, the former Australian soccer player, footballer.
Yeah.
He said he watched the Rugby World Cup final and he doesn't know a lot about rugby. He's a football man through and through. And he said to me, if that's rugby's showcase, you're not really going to attract too many more fans, are you? In fact, you're probably going to lose fans.
You are.
And Tony Squire said, yeah, exactly. And that's why fans in their droves are going to rugby league.
Of course. Because you're seeing people with the ball in hand running the ball, and that's what we want to see down here in the Southern Hemisphere. Well, some of the Southern Hemisphere nations do. That's not a dig at you, South African fans. No, you played some really good rugby, didn't you? No, you didn't. You just stopped us playing. I mean, if that's all you really want to see from a game of rugby, then I've had enough of it. I'm just over it. For a start, okay, here's a couple of little stats for you, mate. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Here's some, because we've got to bring some statistics to it. We can't just talk anecdotally, can we?
No, we can't.
Okay. So the Boks have been in 4 World Cup finals. They've been trialists in 3. If it's like a FIFA or a soccer World Cup, that's like them winning without scoring a goal, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's never really happened. The fact that the rugby union reward, it's just absolutely shocking. It's in a crisis. The rules are too complicated. The interpretations are too confusing. The card system has destroyed the game. It's too stop-start. We actually, the All Blacks, I mean, if you look at the Rugby World Cup that's just gone, 2023 just gone, the All Blacks had all the, we won all the top try scoring, top point scoring. We were 14 against 15 against Ireland for most of the game.
Yeah.
The Sam Cane thing. Okay, let's get on to the head high with him and Khaleesi. I mean, all you want is consistency.
Yeah.
They said all he did was turn around, there's a guy there, and he just tackles him. I mean, I'm sorry.
And again, quoting the great guru, Sir Steve Hansen, said there's no way players should be sent off the field for somebody's late decision to turn around and be tackled.
It's a game of millimeters.
Yeah, yes, you have to protect the head and you have to protect the athletes. Yes. But when you look at the game of rugby league, the game during the regular season, and then when you get to the playoffs and state of origin, it's refereed differently. Any indiscretions go on report. Sort it out after the game. Don't penalise a team just because somebody at the very last second used a bad tackle technique.
Yeah.
And save your red cards for a stiff arm tackle or an
act of deliberate foul play.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Etzebeth with the lazy running? If Andre Watson was there,
Bring back Andre Watson.
Exactly. We had 4-on-1 and he comes running through there. That is a deliberate act of foul play. The knock on, the knock on that Cheslin Cole, I feel sorry for him, but Aaron Smith had exactly the same yellow card in the game against Ireland. So, I mean, I think that's a stupid bloody rule to start with. I mean, all they're doing is reaching for the ball. It's purely instinctive. To be sent to the bin for that is a joke. I'm sorry.
But Justin Marshall thinks it should be a red card.
Well, Justin Marshall, there's a reason he wasn't commentating.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, boy. Sorry.
He was commentating for the South Africans.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, look, I'm sorry. The game has just gone. They need to rip it all down, start again. Just say, look,
I've got a few, and I think you probably read the same thing that I did from our good friend Dobbo Dobson.
Oh, that was what I did read. Yes,
Yes.
I was looking for the stats. Sorry. Yeah, you've got it. You've got it. Yeah.
And so I've got the second half of Dobbo's big rant.
Yep.
And moving forward, fans want to be entertained with continuity. Fans want to see an even contest with 15 playing 15, not 14 versus 16, where the bunker is the extra man. Okay, here's Dobbo's recommendations.
Yep.
Simplify the rules. The ref is the sole judge and makes the final decision after viewing the replay himself on the big screen.
If he needs a hand, he should go upstairs, not the other way around.
That should be the only time the TMO gets involved, is when the referee says, I'm not sure what I've seen here. Can you put it on the screen for me?
Yep.
Reward the ball-carrying team more at the breakdowns. Reduce or eliminate technical penalties, like the scrum penalty that decided the semi-final between South Africa and England. Any scrum infractions should be just a free kick.
Yep, I agree. We should have got a penalty in the last minute for that.
All the scrum is a way to restart the game.
Yep.
That's it, simply.
Yep. And it takes way too long, too. Don't even get me started on how long it takes them to get a fucking scrum down these days.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, it's just...
Put players on report and sort out the punishments after the game like the NRL do, unless it's, as we said, really bad and an obvious red card. Otherwise, have a 20-minute red card like they do in Super Rugby. Find a way for the ball to stay in play longer than 30 out of 80 minutes. Consider shutting off the clock for every stoppage in the last 2 minutes of each half, so negative time-wasting players not rewarded, i.e. the 2-minute warning in American football.
Yep.
Reduce tactical subs, so fitness is rewarded. Go back to the old days of where play could only be replaced if they were injured.
Yeah, but I'll never do that because not now. They'll just say it's not. Get
rid of the mark. That only rewards the defensive team.
I've been saying that from the start, since I was a kid. When I was a child watching rugby, why is the game stopping, Daddy? I'd say, why is the game stopping? Because that man caught the ball. I'd say, well, they don't do that on Carlo Park, Daddy. No, that's because we play a proper sport, son. That's...
Now, here's the big one for me, and I've sort of put my own spin on this one. Consider a 6-point try.
Yeah.
Only make conversions 1 point.
1 point. Yeah.
As in American football.
Great idea.
Penalties 2 points.
Great idea.
Because
drop goals 1 point.
Well, even drop goal can be 2 or 3 points.
I suppose you could have a 2 point
skill.
There is, but it also takes away a lot of it's multiples of 3. It's like, you know, it rewards. Yeah. I just think 3 is way too much. 2, I suppose, for a drop goal.
So because at the moment, 2 penalties is worth more than 1 try.
Yeah.
3 penalties is worth more than a converted try.
That's right. That's right. So
they've got to do so. And as I said, the All Blacks have asked for a please explain from World Rugby. All we've seen is tumbleweeds, and that's all we're likely to see. And to be perfectly honest, I can't really be bothered talking about it anymore.
No, I'm almost there as well. What I would like to see, a lot of those sort of things just being considered. I mean, what I love about American sport is, even though they go on about how they're the greatest all the time, and this is the world championship and all this sport, they're so willing to change things to make it better. You know, they just always consider, we just want to make this better. And baseball is the prime example of that this year. They have sped up the game so much. They've got more people watching, and it's a better spectacle. And, you know, this is a sport that's been going on for over 100 years. It's full of traditions. It's full of all these things that, you know, they don't want to touch, but they're still willing to give up some of that to make it better. And I just feel like rugby is stuck in the mud, and they're they just think that they're better. They just think that that their sport is everyone's always going to watch, and it's just a great sport, and everyone just needs to follow along and watch it. But you know, the All Blacks are they are the legacy team of world rugby. They really are.
They're the Brazil of rugby.
They are. And if it continues like this, man, people in New Zealand aren't going to play rugby. They're just not. They're just going to give up on it. And And it's sad. I mean, I'm not I've always supported league over rugby, but I like rugby. I used to love rugby, and now I like it a lot. But it's so hard to watch when it's like that. It's just so disappointing for the World Cup final to come down to, and they all just say, well, it came, Geordie Barrett had the chance to kick the thing, and Moana should have kicked the
he probably should have.
And that's exactly right. It could have. It comes down to, and I suppose making it a tight final, it does make it a little bit exciting.
Yeah.
But knowing that every single time this guy could just go, Wayne, have you got? I've got something I need you to look at. Every single time that they're trying to just throw the ball around and someone's trying to tackle them, it just takes away from the fun of it, man. It just takes away.
When Beauden Barrett actually scored his try.
Yeah,
we were lying in bed watching the game.
Yeah,
and so I said to Michelle, I'm not going to celebrate it yet because the TMO's bound to come up with something.
Yeah,
thankfully he didn't. But
yeah, I mean, what about the one where it was taken away from us? Were you jumping up and down with that one?
Hell yeah.
Oh, me too. And then they did take it away from us. Yeah. I mean, I was so certain after he said, no knock on, no knock on, no knock on, no knock on, play on, play on. I was so certain, no, they can't take this away from us. But it was a knock on.
No, of course it was.
But
it's going back to what I said earlier. He came in outside his remit.
He did.
You're only supposed to go back 2 phases. He went back 5.
Yeah, I know, mate. It's just crazy.
Oh, and found a line-out penalty.
Yeah, where it was actually the South African guy that caused us to knock it on because he was over our side pulling the guy's arm. So, 6-1. Hey, I mean, but never mind.
Anyway,
I'm over it. I'll get over it by the time I die.
Well, hey, I'm still not over 1995.
Me neither, mate. Me neither. And never get over it. And never get over 81 as well with the bloody Aussies when they underarm bowled us. Never get over that either.
Or the 2007.
Exactly. Even if people tell us we have to get over it.
Yeah.
Screw them. We're never getting over it.
Oh, come on, Aaron. Just get over it. Get over it.
No. I hold grudges. Till I die. I take them to the grave.
We're great ruminators. We are. We're great ruminators.
Yeah, that's one word for it. Yeah,
anyway, let's ruminate on a round ball. The football. Liverpool. Absolutely flying at the moment.
What a goal yesterday. Oh, Darwin Nunes.
I loved it when Darwin had terrible first touch.
They booed him.
And they laughed at him. And he turns around, beats one man, top corner, 25 metres. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, what a player. He's just awesome. I absolutely love him. He's reminding me a little bit of Torres. I mean, the way he plays. Yeah, the way he plays. I mean, he's not quite as technically gifted, I don't think, but he's got something else as well. He's got something else. I just absolutely love him. And you're loving our definitely. You're loving our new midfield too, aren't you, mate?
Oh, mate, what an engine.
Hey?
What an engine room. I would love to see McAllister being able to play a bit further forward.
Yeah, me too. That's why we need a holding midfielder. But Endo played really well there.
From what I've read, Gravenberch is actually possibly a better number 6 than he is.
I don't agree with that.
I don't.
I've never seen him play that, and I think he's a progressive player. I think, I think he's played best when Curtis Jones has played with him. And Curtis Jones has obviously been suspended for the last few games. It's because Curtis Jones sort of sits back and does all the necessary stuff. And then you got McAllister there as well. And Gravenberch, when he can go forward and he wants to be the main man, you can see that. And only 21, man, he's an athlete. I mean, our midfield, man, it's just looking great. And it's great being a Liverpool fan when Manchester United are going so terribly as well, isn't it?
I actually did I had 2 headlines here. Under football, I had Liverpool news, which we've talked about. Yeah. And the second one was, what's happening with manure again?
I mean, Ten Hag, he's got no idea, does he, mate? He's got absolutely no idea. The team he picked yesterday was just a hodgepodge. None of them looked like they wanted to be there, even though they should have all wanted to be there because they could play their way into the team. And, I mean, he must be a dead man walking. I mean,
well, yeah, you've got that. You've got the Jadon Sancho situation, and
yeah, well, he's just waiting. He's just waiting, sitting on his hands, waiting for the guy to be sacked so he can get back in the team.
yeah, it's a. I mean, it's such a shame because at Dortmund he was such an amazing player.
Oh, absolutely. But
And
they play a completely different style.
yeah,
The thing is, Eric Ten Hag has almost made his own bed because he said, someone asked him in a press conference the other day, when are Manchester United going to start playing like Ajax did? And he said, never. We've got different players. And I was like, hang on, haven't you bought 3 of Ajax's players? So you're buying their players, supposedly, to become a better team, but you don't want them to play like that. I don't know. He just sends such mixed messages so many times.
Yeah.
And so many times I see them play terribly, and he goes, "Oh, we were the best team in the first half. We were so good." And I'm like, really? What game are you watching?
It makes me wonder. I mean, Sancho came from the Dortmund system, and was playing under Tuchel when he was at Dortmund. Yeah. And it sort of makes me wonder what sort of player he would be now if he'd gone to Liverpool.
Oh man, he'd be way different. I mean, it'd be under Klopp. And for a start,
here's one from left field. Liverpool should buy Sancho and groom him as Salah's replacement.
Mate, also he can play. He played, I thought, the best for Dortmund, almost as an attacking midfielder. It played more in the middle of the field, but they're never going to play him there because they've bought all these. They bought Eriksen and like all these old guys to play there, and Bruno Fernandes plays there. I feel really sorry for Jadon Sancho. And he's playing Anthony in front of him.
Yeah.
who they spent nearly 100 million on. I'm just like, because he had to have him because he was in the Ajax system, and it was exactly what they needed was another winger at that time. Manchester United, they are just the gift that just keeps giving, mate. They really are, aren't they?
Oh well, at least they're doing better than Chelsea.
Doing better than Chelsea. Well, Pochettino's really got them firing, hasn't he, mate? Firing on all cylinders.
I feel really bad for Poch. I like him. I really like him as a manager.
I just think, who is he though? Who is he now? He's not the same guy as when he was in top. It's like when he went to PSG, they took something away from him, took a bit of his charisma or something, and he's just lost it. And he's gone to Chelsea, and he's just sort of like, I liked him at Tottenham, but he just looks like a different man now. Looks browbeaten, and that's what Chelsea seems to do to What about going back to Man United? What about someone like Mason Mount, man? What about someone like him? He would have been okay in our team as well. Thank God we didn't get him because we wouldn't have got Dominic, who's just wow. But I just think playing in their system, it's just where players go to die, isn't it? I mean, they just can't seem to get I saw what Gary Neville said the other day when he was ranting and raving. He said, when you look at the actual players, let's take United for an example. You've got Fernandes, Mount, Casemiro, and Eriksen. I think Jurgen Klopp would swap his midfield now for United's. Really?
Yeah, nah.
Really? Nah. Really? I mean, I get his point, but it's a stupid point.
It is a very stupid point.
But also, Jurgen Klopp's a proper coach and he'll get them playing. I just don't. Eric Ten Hag's a myth. I mean,
Tuchel and Nagelsmann couldn't get anything out of Gravenberch.
No.
Look how well he's playing at Liverpool.
Within a couple of months. It's only been there. It's only been there a little while.
Exactly. Yeah. And I rate him as good a buy as Dominic.
Oh, absolutely. Tuchel said the reason he couldn't get him because it's the system he plays. Yeah. He plays that 4-2-3-1, and he reckons there was no place for him. But I don't know.
I reckon he would be perfect in that system.
You'd think so. I mean, but Tuchel's playing as one of the
three behind the front striker.
He's a funny guy, isn't he? He seems to have issues with players, and you just sort of go, "Why has he got an issue with that?" It seems more personal than their playing potential sometimes, isn't it? I mean,
yesterday, again, the Bournemouth game, it looked like we were playing a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, at times.
Salah seemed to be up front on his own.
Yeah.
With Gakpo just in behind him.
Just before I forget, how good is Jarell Quansah?
Oh.
Mate, that guy, he is a bonus for Liverpool, isn't he? I mean,
he's Virgil van Dijk 10 years ago.
Mark II. He looks amazing. The way he was firing balls into the midfield. He just looks imperious for a guy that's I think he's just turned 20. I
Yeah.
mean, we've saved a lot of money. I don't know whether Jurgen Klopp actually knew that he was going to be as good as he is.
No, I don't think he did.
Whether that was a good decision not to buy, we all wanted a central defender, but man, we've got a good one on our hands there too, eh? So things are looking pretty good for Liverpool at the moment.
I think rather than looking for a centre back in the winter window, I think he might be looking for another left back.
Left back, yeah. Go and get Alphonso Davies from Bayern Munich, man.
Yeah,
he's amazing. I would love to get. He's only got 18 months left in his contract. If we can get him,
we're missing Andy.
Absolutely. I mean,
Tsimikas is an okay player, but he doesn't quite.
He's a backup, isn't he? He's a backup.
Yeah.
And he always looks like he needs some sleep.
Yeah.
he's got those big bags under his eyes.
Yeah.
And yesterday he actually had a shiner. I was like, what's going on there? Someone's given him one. I don't know. I walked into a door, boss. I walked into a door. Yeah,
I wonder if Jurgen got upset with him and kicked a boot across the floor.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
David Beckham.
That's what I was thinking after a couple of his poor performances. I was like, I'll show you how to fucking cross a wall.
I like the look of the boy Chambers.
Oh, yeah.
Left back against Toulouse last week.
Yeah, he looks about 12.
Yeah.
Bloody young.
The other boy, Scanlon, that played.
Oh, he looked even younger, didn't he? He looked about 7.
Out of the under 12s.
He was... Yeah, they both looked handy, didn't they? But we've seen it before, haven't we, with young guys? I mean, they come in and but that Kwanzaa, man, he's going to be in our side. You can see I think he's developed so well. I mean, he's just going to get better and better the more games he gets. I feel a bit sorry for Quavin. I don't know how you say his name. Quavin?
The goalie.
Quavin Kelleher.
Quamine.
I feel sorry for him, man. He's like 25 or 26, and he's only played like 40 senior games. Yeah. And you look at other goalies like him, they played like 200, 300 games. He should have been sent on loan. He should have been something. We should have developed him a bit better, but he's a reasonable backup. I definitely trust him better than Adrian.
Oh, he's a great backup. I actually think he could probably make 10 or 11 of Premier League teams.
So do I, but no one came for him in the he was available and just no one came for him, and he would have been a local player as well. But when you think about it, he will actually have a lot more games this year, because if we make it through to the League Cup final, it'll be an extra 4 games, because there's a 2-legged semi-final. Then there's all the games in the group stages of the Europa League, and maybe even the early stages of the FA Cup. He could get at least a dozen games. The draw's been done, actually, hasn't it, for the quarterfinals for the League Cup?
Yes.
Everton, Fulham, Chelsea versus Newcastle, Port Vale versus Middlesbrough, and we've got the Hammers at home. No, we're at home.
I'll tell you what, you'd be spitting tax if you're a Newcastle fan, wouldn't you? You've had Manchester City, Manchester United, and now Chelsea.
Chelsea at the bridge, though, mate. Come on, they'll pants them.
I know, but looking at the draw. I mean, ours hasn't exactly been a cakewalk.
This has to be a competition we're all in to win, though.
Oh,
I mean, when you look at these teams that are left, mate, I mean, really the only one I would fear out of any of those teams is Newcastle, right?
Yeah.
And if we get them, and I'd rather draw them in the semi-final, so they have to come and play at Anfield.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we play
beaten them at St James.
Yeah, I know. And then we play Port Vale in the final.
Yeah. I would love a Liverpool-Everton final.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool? That'd be great.
Actually, speaking of Everton, sad news during the week with Bill Kenwright, their owner, passing away. A true Liverpool City man, obviously on the blue side, but he was passionate about that club.
Mate.
And was such a good Liverpudlian around the time of Hillsborough.
Oh, man.
And other situations like that.
Yeah.
He's a true Liverpudlian. So rest in peace, Bill Kenwright.
Absolutely. What did he say? They picked on the wrong city. They picked on the wrong mums.
Yeah.
I mean, he just did so much for the city of Liverpool. I thought that was real class of the Liverpool fans, the way they showed respect to him, and of course Bobby Charlton.
To Bobby Charlton, yeah, absolutely. Somebody said it, and I thought, yeah, you're actually right. One of the greatest footballers that's ever lived.
Oh, it has to be. I mean, he'd have to be up there. I mean, when you're talking about the greatest British footballer or English footballer, I mean, people often talk about the early ones. Matthews. They talk about Matthews, don't they? The one, my father's father talked about Sir Stanley Matthews. And then really, it's him, isn't it? I mean, when you think about
him and
Bobby Moore, and maybe Gascoigne. I mean, that'd be the top four. I mean, you could probably, and then of course Bex.
Of course. Have you watched the documentary?
I have watched the documentary. I have. I had to watch it. I watched it with the missus, of course, because she watched it for other things. I watched it for
of course.
Look, I think it's hard to call it a documentary. I think it's a puff piece, but it was interesting. It was interesting to see how the other half lives. I thought it was very interesting the way he organised his wardrobe. I thought that said a lot.
About OCD there.
About what sort of a boring fucker he is, really. I mean, you got nothing else to do with your day, David, really.
He's a cleanliness freak too.
These are the beige, this is the off-white, this is the ivory. Fucking hell. They glossed over the affair and all that sort of thing. It was okay. What the other one is the Wagatha Christie thing, the documentary.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
That is worth watching. That is a proper doc. I really enjoyed that.
I'll have a look
because all I knew from it was anecdotal stuff from the press, and I sort of thought, oh, what a tough. But when you get into the nitty gritty of it, it's kind of a nasty story. So it's really, really interesting. So I can highly recommend that one. That's a lot better than the big one.
A couple of other football items. Next year, because the
Go on.
English Football League are so concerned about player welfare that they've removed one game off the calendar for next year.
Oh, absolutely. That'll make a difference.
Yep. One game. So the Carabao Cup semi-finals next year will only be one leg.
Down to one. That's
down
good.
to one. So they've done their bit for player welfare. Well done. One period of 90 minutes that has been taken off the calendar.
Meanwhile, we're extending.
You fucking idiots.
You plonkers.
But even better news is the World Cup's going back to the Middle East.
There he is. Looking all heavy. Gianni, my man. Come on, we can do a deal.
Prince Gianni Infantino.
Ahad. Oh, God. What a load of shit this is. I mean, 2034. I thought, there was only one bidder, wasn't there? There was only one bidder. And I thought all the other associations around the world were deafening in their silence, weren't they? About just really.
They basically, FIFA made their bed before they actually laid in it by saying that they were only accepting bids from the Middle East and Oceania because all the other confederations have had recent World Cups. And of course, once it was made clear that Saudi Arabia was the Middle East bidder, Australia just said, "Oh, fuck it, why bother?"
Yeah, and it's true. Why would they bother? I mean, why put yourself through? I mean, and you've seen their bidding process. How much cash would you have to hand out in brown paper bags to even be considered? And then they all say, we'll vote for you. Then you go to this big thing, and they say, and the winner is Saudi Arabia. Hey! And they all go, oh fuck. That was a waste of fucking $400 million, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So why would you bother? No, absolutely.
It was quite sad because apparently in their bid they had games at Eden Park, which would have been fantastic.
Yeah. Well, maybe not in our lifetime. Maybe in my children's lifetime or my grandchildren's lifetime.
Probably your grandson's lifetime.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, enough on football. Rugby League.
A couple of signings. Yeah, shocking news
yesterday.
Yep, it was. Addin
Fonua-Blake. He wants to leave the Warriors on compassionate grounds. Where have we seen this before? What other club's done this? Oh, that's right, the Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors always seem to release their best players on compassionate grounds. Reece Walsh last year. Addin Fonua-Blake this time.
Fonua-Blake, he got to the Warriors on compassionate grounds, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, we're a very compassionate club.
Yeah.
Very compassionate. I wish we'd stop being so bloody compassionate to all the teams we're giving our best players to.
I really want to see the Warriors take a hard line on this one.
I think,
and I'd like to see the NRL back them up too.
Yeah, look. If he doesn't want to be there, that's the whole crux of the matter. If you don't want to be there, what I would like to see is if we do trade him, that we get something in return. We need a transfer. We need another player. If he goes to the Tigers, have got a couple of really good up and coming props. Uchakamanu is a freaking amazing beast. I would love to get him. Get someone young, get someone up and coming. So long as we get something back. And I trust Webby will be able to get whatever he gets and turn it into rocks into diamonds. That's what he does. It's really, really sad. I just think it's really sad that after the great season we had last year, that he's now decided that he wants to go. But if he wants to go,
so
we just that's just
you're the expert on this.
Yeah.
The Roosters or the Sea Eagles or the Tigers got his agent on the phone and said, look, what's he getting paid at the Warriors? We'll pay him more. Tell him to seek a release on compassionate grounds. He's
already the highest paid prop. He's like on 1.2. He's the highest paid player at the Warriors. So if another club picks him up, I would say, if I was the Warriors, I'd say, okay, you're going to pay half his salary that we pay. That we're paying for that we've already signed him for these next 2 years. So you're going to pay half of that, and then you can pay whatever you're going to pay him on top of that. So that comes off our cap, so that we don't have to pay that, and then we get the money back to pay for another player. That's the way it has to work. It has to sort of be some creative accountancy in regards to who's paying him.
I put a on one of the posts, I think it was on the Warriors Till I Die page.
Yep.
I put a comment on what did it say? Something along those lines. Has there been an industry tap up by Roosters et al.
Or Gus Gould on the phone.
Gus Gould. And then something about because he wants to be home with mummy and daddy. And somebody called me a twit. So
well, it is online. I mean, that's what people do, isn't it? They're fucking idiots everywhere. I mean, no, that's true. I mean, of course, that's the way it happens. It's just you never hear about it because it's not in the club's best interest. Whoever's rung him and said, and it's not in the players' best interest to say anything. It's in their best interest to shut their mouths and try and get them out of there. So
and I mean, we don't know the background to it. It could be that maybe one of his parents is
we don't know.
Sick.
He's got cancer or exactly.
We don't know that, but. Yeah, highly unlikely. And the other thing, talking about the Warriors taking a hard line on this, I would be saying to him, if I was Cameron George, and I'm not, so it doesn't mean it's not worth.
He said no comment at the moment, so he may come out.
But I would be saying to Mr. Fonua-Blake's representatives, you can leave the club, but you're under contract for another 3 years, and you can't play for anybody else.
That's nice. That's taking a hard line. That would be interesting if they did that.
No, they won't. But
they won't because it's a salary cap thing as well. Also, the club lost Josh Curran. He's going to the Canterbury Bulldogs. Lots of wailing from lots of Warriors fans about Josh Curran. I'm not a massive. I mean, he's good, but I just don't. I think we can get better. And he was a bench player last year, and he's a bit of rocks and diamonds as well for me. So. Que sera to him. On the good side, Dylan Watene-Zeleznia has re-signed with the Warriors on another 2 or 3 years contract, which is fantastic news. He's one of the top paid wingers in the NRL, but man, he made his money last year. So I'm really stoked about that. We've got a couple of others coming out of contract as well. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Tohu Harris. And Jackson Ford, I understand, as well. And of course, Sean Johnson's perhaps the biggest one, but they're all in their last year. So even if they do sign with another club, it'll be next year that they leave. So, but after the 1st of November, all of those players can negotiate. So that's what's going on now, and that's why we're finding out all this stuff. So
now with all the hoo-ha and the great season that the Warriors had, and what sort of interest has there been in this Pacific series?
Oh, I think there's been good interest. I mean, the thing is, man, it's going on while there's a Rugby World Cup final. I mean, Rugby World Cup going on while there's a Cricket World Cup going on. It's at the end of the NRL season. People have almost forgotten the league was on. I think if you watch the game tomorrow night in Hamilton, it'll be a full ground, and I guarantee you the game will be way more entertaining than that World Cup final we watched.
Oh, look, the TAB have got odds on that, and it's actually only paying 95 cents.
Exactly. You're paying them.
Yeah,
it's guaranteed. I mean, just the haka will be more. Did you watch the haka last week? When they go, oh, it was awesome. It was a Mexican standoff. That's what the Aussie commentators called them. No Kiwi commentator would ever say that's a Mexican standoff after a haka, where the Aussies won't move. They just stood there, and then the Kiwis moved forward, and then they basically gave each other hongies just before they smashed each other. I thought we looked a bit rusty in paces, but it was a good test match. It was entertaining. I thought there was some of the refereeing was a little bit dodge, but hey, we've got an Aussie ref. Why the hell have we got an Aussie ref? Why haven't we got a British ref? You know, make it. You know, at least take out the feeling of bias. You know, but look, man, I'm going to be watching on Saturday night. The Kiwis have got a good side. Missing a few players. The Aussies are as well. Should be a good test match. Why it's in Hamilton? Got no idea. Is there something on at Eden Park?
Who knows?
Ridiculous. Anyway, enjoy it, Hamilton. Enjoy it.
Oh, well, get to Hamilton.
Go the Kiwis!
Go the Kiwis. Now, just slipping back to rugby union at the moment, and I'm going to try my best impersonation here.
Go on.
No, mate, I'm staying with Australia for the next 4 years. I'm contracted to them, and come on, you guys, you're all a bit negative, aren't you?
Oh, but Eddie, you've been knocked out the last 5 times. You haven't done anything. You've never won anything in rugby. You're hopeless.
Yeah, okay, I'll resign then.
Where's
what
Eddie
a
going?
bloody circus, eh?
Oh, well, he makes it a circus, doesn't he? I think he enjoys it, and I think the press enjoy it too, because he's walking box office, isn't he?
What did he say? What did he say the other day after he resigned? He said it's a bit like robbing the bank, but not blowing up the bank, but not getting away with any money.
Yeah, nice analogy, eh? Oh. It's like saying it's like shitting your pants and not having any toilet paper to wipe it up with afterwards. What?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, good on you, Eddie.
Yeah, good on you.
I bet Dave Rennie's feeling good about this at the moment.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's stoked. Poor old Australia at the World Cup. What did you make of it?
Oh, David they didn't have an idea, didn't have a clue.
No, they didn't, did they?
The funny thing is, though, that there's a Barbarians game this weekend. I can't even remember who they're playing. And Eddie Jones is the coach of the Barbarians.
Is he?
And he's picked Michael Hooper.
Oh, has he?
The man he left out of the World Cup squad.
So he's admitting fault. Yeah. Who knows? or he's just trying to peddle favour. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what that guy's motivation is, mate? He'll be coaching. All I know is he'll be coaching Japan at the next World Cup.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Sure.
Sort of going back to the rest of the World Cup, what were your abiding what are some of your abiding memories of the World Cup?
I thought the All Blacks played some good rugby when they were allowed to. I thought it went on far too long. It was way too long. It was like some of those poor old reporters. Yeah. It's like sending them on an old cricket tour of England. You know, they've been over there touring around. How long have you been away? I've been away for 78 days. My kids don't recognise me. Yeah, it's just far too long. There needed to be a game every second day or something rather than making them all in the week. That's once again silly. I thought the format of it was okay, but once again, when there's not game after game, you sort of lose interest. And I really didn't take a lot of interest until we got into those quarterfinals. And then once we got into those, it was basically the Northern Hemisphere saying, oh, it's all going to be an all Northern Hemisphere semi-finals. The Southern Hemisphere are shit. And then it turned completely the other way. And we got a few upsets, which was good in those quarterfinals. Obviously, even us beating Ireland was an upset.
Yep.
France getting beaten was an upset. So I thought that was good and threw a bit of interest in it. But when it came down to it, the final game, it just ruined it all. I think unless you're a South African who just wants to celebrate the win and not really even care about the way rugby's played, because let's be honest, if you're honest as a South African fan, you can't be happy. Look, okay, shout out to Peter Steph du Toit, man. Wow.
Oh, wow.
What a performance. I mean, that's one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. Bloody Geordie Barrett will be waking up in cold sweats, right? He's going again. Every single time he got the ball, bang! It was like bang, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He just didn't stop. Oh, what a performance! They're a great defensive team of rugby, a rugby team, but I just want to see more.
The thing is, they can play really good attacking rugby.
Yeah,
I mean, their two wingers and fullback are absolute flyers,
aren't they? Amazing.
And Willemse, Arenze, and
Colby and Cheesedale Colby. Yep.
Cheesedale Colby, yeah. And even the centres at Dealunda and Creel are both great ball players.
They are.
But they just never get the ball.
I know. They're just determined to go for threes and
which is
play the corners and go to a line out and all that sort of stuff. But
I think for me, the abiding memory will be the massive cock up of making the draw 3 years before the competition actually was due to happen.
They do it every time. They did it again, haven't they?
No, they've
they haven't.
No, they're not doing it until 6 months before the World Cup.
Oh, good. The seedings. Yeah. Let's rank them now. 4 years out. Anything can happen. You have a completely different squad.
To have the top 4 seeds in the world on the same side of the draw was just
that's a bit stupid.
It was pretty much all over by after the quarterfinals. And I mean, no disrespect to Fiji, but given they were a penalty away from making the semi-finals, doesn't really say much for your competitions. A bit like the All Whites making the quarterfinals of the Football World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Fiji were. I really enjoyed watching them play. They throw it around.
Yeah,
they took their chances. You know,
they showed their inconsistency though, being beaten by Portugal.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a great game.
That was a great game.
That was an amazing game.
I only watched the highlights of that, though. That's the thing. I mean, because I wasn't engaged at that level. You know, I was. So, whereas when the Football World Cup's on, in the morning I can't wait to get up and what game is on, you know, and I watch a full replay. I just
with the Football World Cup, there's games on every day for about 4 weeks.
Sometimes 2 or 3.
Oh,
you know,
4 games a day.
I know. I suppose with the World Cup, there are going to be more teams at the next World Cup, so there will be a chance. I think also
with pool play,
be more thrashings. Yeah,
with pool play, you've really only got 2 what you would call top teams.
Yeah,
in a group, maybe 3. You know, there were some groups this year that had 3 out of the 5 teams were what you would call top tier nations.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why you can't have games 3-4 days apart.
I know.
Because I mean, if you look at the All Blacks,
because you're rotating your squad. You're playing a different team.
All Blacks in pool play had almost a different 15 in their second game after getting beaten by France.
I know.
So you're not talking about overworking the players. If you're playing, you know, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday.
Absolutely.
You know, and you say you've got, if there's 4 groups, you play 2 group games a day. So there's 4 days in consecutive. And then it's time for them to turn around and play again.
You're making far too much sense. I just do not understand how the executives at the top of rugby can stuff up little things like that. You know, you'd think that they, you know, how long they've got to come up with all and get all this right.
Yeah.
You know, surely you'd just get together and thrash it out and just get through it and get to the best decision for the sport. Instead, it seems like they go, right, this is what we're doing, and everyone's going along with it. You know, it's like
it's almost like it's a university graduate stuck behind a desk.
It is,
with a shirt and tie on, putting names into a computer program.
It should be like, here's what we propose. And how about just before the World Cup final, World Rugby coming out with their new future tours or whatever thing it is, which is which basically means there will not be any more tours. Their future, what is it? I don't know, mate.
Whatever.
mate, you despair. What we need is tours. I mean, tours are what rugby was amazing for. We talked anyway. So whoever's coming up with all these ideas, you'd think it's obviously not a democracy, is it?
No.
They just want to tell us how to play the game. They're going to tell us who to play. They're going to tell us when to play, and they're going to tell us how we play. Because hang on, I've got something I want you to see. Hang on, there it is. It's foul play. It's just...
now, speaking of finishing off the rugby and moving on to the cricket.
Yeah, mate.
Cricket World Cup started 2.5 years ago.
What, this one?
Yeah, this one. What it seems like.
Yeah, it's been going a while as well.
And this one, I mean,
but I do like the format. I do like this format where every team plays every team. I like it.
Yeah, you don't need a 3-day gap in between each game.
No, you don't.
It's not like baseball. You can probably play game every 2 or 3 days.
But maybe you do when they only allow 15 bloody players in a squad.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that about? Why can you only have 4 reserves? Why don't we take 22 players? Why don't they take 22 players so that we can rotate our team? At the moment, Black Caps are lucky if they've got 11 left.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, I think they've only got 10 fit players.
So Rod Latham's going to open the batting, is he?
Yeah.
I don't know, mate. It's once again, it's I do like the format of every team playing every team. I think that's fair. I think that's a really good way of doing it rather than having groups, especially when you only got a 10 team. I like that. But I agree with you. There needs to be more cricket.
It needs to be compressed a bit more.
And what do you make of the venues and the crowds and the first one, the first game, us against England, there was about 40,000 there, and it looked like there was about 400.
It looked like there was 33 people and 3 dogs.
Because the stadium's bigger than the sun.
I mean, I actually think up until the last couple of games, the last game, we've actually been playing some bloody good cricket.
We have been.
But
the Aussie game. What did you think of the Aussie game?
I could not believe it. I woke up in the middle of the night, because it was an earlier game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was early. You can watch. I watched the first innings, and then I just thought I can't, because the World Cup final was in the morning, right? The rugby, so you couldn't do it. And the Kiwis test was earlier in the night. So it was like that was sporting smorgasbord, and we lost every game.
But I switched on and saw the last couple of overs of the Australian innings.
Oh, did you?
And saw that they'd got.
I would have loved to have seen that live.
387.
Oh, I mean, what an hour? Yeah, 380. I watched I watched the beginning of their innings when Warner and Travis Head were going absolutely nuts. I watched about the first 10 overs and just couldn't take it anymore and had to do something else. And then I saw the end. I thought, they only got 380.
Only got 380.
I did, because they looked like they were going to get 500, mate. They did. They were like, honestly, 190 for none after like 19 overs. It was ridiculous.
I woke up in the morning, looked on Tribe, and thought, shit, we only lost by 5 runs.
I know, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. And then I want to watch the highlights. You can't really, it was highlights. You didn't even have to watch the highlights. It was highlights all the way. And our battings looked good. Our bowlings looked a little bit dodged sometimes. And some of the pitches are a bit dodgy too.
Well, you get some that are turning square and then others that are roads.
Yeah, I know. It's one or the other, eh? It's either a Bunsen burner or an absolute...
I didn't think it was a great decision to bowl first against South Africa.
Oh, and then Tom Latham afterwards said, no,
do it again.
We got it right. I'm like, what? What's that about? Why are we... Yeah. Strange tactics. Maybe we're doing it to lull all the other teams in. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
And saying, when will the Cricket World Cup end? I mean... At least with there's been a game every day.
Yeah.
And once we get to the semi-finals and final, it finishes bang, bang pretty quickly. So
yeah. So it's just the top 4 teams, right?
Yeah. 2
semis and a final. Yeah.
So, but yeah, interesting.
And so who have we got to play left? We've got
Pakistan and Sri Lanka.
Okay. And what happened overnight last night between Sri Lanka? Sri Lanka were playing, weren't they?
Don't know.
Who was playing last night? Anyway, So basically, do we have to win both of those games?
I think we only really need one.
Have to win one. Okay. Yeah, there's some big games still to come, isn't there? I think South Africa have to play India.
Yep.
That's going to be a massive game because they're looking like the top two teams at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
Australia can still make it.
I know.
And so can Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Both of those teams can make it too.
Well, theoretically, Afghanistan can still actually make it.
They can. They could blow up the whole competition and make it, couldn't they?
Although they've got their last two games are Australia and South Africa. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Probably not.
Yeah. So what was?
But I did like the beginning of the thing where there was just an upset every second day. That was pretty cool.
Oh.
What?
India Sri Lanka game last night.
Yes. What happened in that game?
India 357 for 8. Sri Lanka all out for 55.
Really? 55?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh, well, that was a great decision to bat second.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Who got the wickets for India?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
So Pakistan have got us and England left.
Okay.
And
England can still play spoiler, but they've been playing absolutely terribly.
They've won 1, lost 5.
Yeah.
And
terrible.
So who? What was their only win? They lost to India, lost to Sri Lanka,
lost to us,
lost to South Africa, lost to Afghanistan. Oh, they beat Bangladesh.
Woo! Oh, done.
Thrashed them.
Thrashed the bangers.
Oh dear.
Poor old England. And I heard that the Champions Trophy, which is going to be next year, only the top 8 teams qualify.
Yes.
And England look like they're going to miss out, which would be hilarious, wouldn't it?
They play Australia tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then have got the Netherlands and then Pakistan.
I wouldn't be surprised if England beat Australia. I'll tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if England beat Australia. That'd be quite funny too.
It would.
That happened.
Anyway, I don't think there was anything else in the cricket world.
Baseball. Nah. Let's get onto your baseball. We're in a World Series, mate.
Yeah, World Series is all over after Texas Rangers won their first ever World Series title over the mighty Arizona Diamondbacks,
who've done so well.
Oh, they just have had an amazing run in the playoffs. And as we've talked about before, the playoffs and the regular season are two completely different competitions. And you've got to feel a wee bit sorry for the top seeds coming out of the regular season. The likes of the Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, Los Angeles Dodgers, who all won over 100 games in the regular season.
And it doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything because they all got knocked out in the divisional series.
Yeah.
Didn't even make it to the championship series. They do need to sort that out a wee bit. They need to, at the moment.
The regular season's too long, right? The regular season's too long and the playoffs are almost too short because.
No, it's not. Regular season's not too long. Regular season's perfect. 162 games. But what they need to do is, at the moment, the top seeds get the wild card off, which can go up for up to 3 days, and there's a day off either side. So basically, those sides who are the top seeds end up getting a week off, which is too long, too long a break. They need to start the wild card series the day after the regular season finishes, and games 2 and 3 should be a double header. So you play one game day after the regular season finishes, day 2, play again. If the team wins 2-0, that's it. It's all over.
So you're basically saying the wild card teams at the moment have an advantage because the other teams are resting, and by the time they go into play them, that they're cold, so that they've got an advantage.
Yep. Well, because baseball is a very routine game.
Sure.
Starting pitchers know they're going to pitch every 5 days.
Yep.
Sometimes 6 days.
Yeah.
So that's what their whole routines are about. They pitch, they have a day off.
So you're saying basically they're not getting a big enough advantage then, the teams that are qualifying from the top, they're actually getting a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So why then? Why have a wild card series at all? Why don't you go? Okay, here's just a theory, just throwing it out there. Why have wild card? Why don't you go right? We're going to seed them 1 to 8 on each, or 1 to 4 or whatever. One plays 4 in a series, 7-game series, and one plays 4, and then they play off, and then do it that way, so that they're all playing all the way through. Yep. Why don't you do it that way?
Oh,
so that
yeah. Quite right.
You know, or just include more teams in the playoffs, you know?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Major League Baseball does want more teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it's, what is it? 6 teams get through to the playoffs. Perhaps expand that to 8. I mean, they're talking about adding another 2 teams.
Yeah.
To Major League Baseball.
You're talking about 6 teams. Six teams in each league, right? At the moment. Yeah. So if you made it 8 teams in every league, and you made number 1 play number 8, number 2, you know, much the same as they do in the NRL.
Yeah,
almost.
Exactly.
And then you could have that could work, and have 7-game series, because then it's all about routine. There's no advantage for any side sitting down.
Yep.
That could work. Something like that. Extend the playoffs. You know.
Yep. Well, as I say, they want to expand MLB by 2 teams to make it 32 teams to match the NFL. Yeah. So in that situation, they would go to, probably at the moment, there's American League and National League, which there's no differentiation now that the DH is in the National League. Yeah. So make them all MLB teams.
Yeah.
But just have like they do in the basketball, Eastern Conference, Western Conference.
Sure.
You know, and do it that way.
Would that not stuff the travel up? Because I mean, this is something that we've been talking on a lot offline about this, haven't we? Clint was a friend of ours who was saying, you know, he thinks that might affect the travel factor for especially a lot of those teams that are on the coast who have to travel all the time. Do you think that?
Well, at the moment, what they've done this year for the first time ever is every team plays every team now. Which is great. It is great. And they've reduced the number of interdivisional games. Yeah. So previously, the Yankees would play the Red Sox 19 times a season.
Yeah.
This season, they only played them 13.
Yeah.
But
less is more sometimes, though, right? Even if it's a rivalry series, sometimes less is more, especially if you're getting that many games. It's still a good number of games, right?
And it was the same with every other division. Like the Mariners would play the Astros 19 times a season, and the Angels 19 times. And then they wouldn't play most of they would only have inter-league games against one other division.
That's right, a certain number of teams.
Which, I mean, this year it's been great because, you know, you've seen great matchups from the past, like Yankees-Dodgers and Yankees-Cubs. And
that's so good.
Cubs-Red Sox.
That's what fans want to see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, but what I love about baseball, I mean, other than the actual sport itself, is the fact that, you know, they're always keen. At the end of a season, they go, right, what worked, what didn't, let's do something, and let's just make it better. And they don't really care about, we're coming down, this is the road you have to put. They're more interested in just improving the sport. And some of the changes.
Two of their changes, I think, have worked brilliantly.
The pitch clock is amazing, man.
The pitch clock has been brilliant. At the beginning of the season, there were lots of pitching clock infractions because players weren't used to it.
Not quite sure, yeah.
But as the season went on, there's been hardly any.
Yeah.
Which has been great. And the
catches are bloody good, eh?
Yeah.
The catches, if they see it ticking down, they'll run quick. You know, they actually save the pitches sometimes. Of like, so there's a little bit of strategy going on there as well.
And I thought bigger bases would ruin the game too, but it hasn't. No. It's actually improved. It's improved what they call small ball.
Yeah.
But we've seen teams aren't reliant now on
the home runs.
Well, unless you're the Yankees.
Yeah.
You don't hit a home run, you lose. More base stealing. There's been lots more base stealing. Lots more games that, you know, finished 9-7 and there's only been one home run. You know, look at the Diamondbacks through the playoffs. Weren't hitting many home runs, but they were still winning games by lots of runs.
Absolutely. Stealing bases.
Putting up crooked numbers and, you know, in a long inning, and just lots of base stealing, lots of hit and run, which is great for the game. I mean,
awesome. It just makes the game so much more exciting.
Who doesn't love a home run? But when it's taking over the game,
when there's players on base and there's defensive plays in the
Yeah.
field, and it's like guys running for bases and guys going around, like when who's the guy that plays for the Phillies with the big, the guy with the hair,
Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper, when he got pulled, when the guy hit it right on the outfield and he ran around second and ran back without touching the base,
Yeah.
and got caught. That was like almost a unique play that you never ever see,
Yeah.
and you're seeing stuff like that. It's just so the game is booming. I love it. I love watching baseball now.
Yeah.
I love it so much more. I can sit down for a couple of hours and watch a game, and I know that it's not just going to be delay tactic. There was, when you think about it now, the amount of times the pitchers used to step off or throw to first, or the other rule that I found quite interesting is the way that the pitchers now don't get the signals. They get signals via the glove. The guy's touching the thing, and he's got like a thing in his ear. And what's that all about?
Yeah, it's as a result to try and get rid of sign stealing.
Yeah,
we all know about the cheating Houston Astros and how they stole signs. But it's to eliminate that. So, you used to see catchers holding down, one finger for a fastball or two fingers for whatever, and so on and so on. And now they're pushing a button on their pitch comm, which is in their glove.
And what does it do?
It comes up in the pitcher's ear and goes fastball.
Oh, okay. So just
or
it's
slider away, or
so interesting. It's so interesting.
And
sometimes the comms go out and they have to do it the other way, but it's like it's just a really, I mean, it's just great that that a sport like baseball considers something like that, and it's a little bit of technology they brought into the game that's just made the game better.
And I think the other rule change too, eliminating the shift has certainly helped as well.
The fielding shift,
shift, in the infield.
Definitely.
It's been a lot of left-handed hitters have appreciated it.
Definitely.
But I mean, teams have come up with ways to not quite get around it, but by having their shortstop almost hugging second base, and the third baseman just halfway between third base and second base. So they're still doing it, just not as extensively as it used to be done.
Yeah. And what about these Diamondbacks, man? I mean, they had so many rookie players, didn't they? They had rookie pitchers, they had rookie hitters. Are they going to be ripped apart like the Marlins were, and just like players sent everywhere, or are they going to be able to hold their players? They're going to be able to go again in the next couple of years?
I think they've got the squad ready for the next 2 or 3 years. I don't think there's too many players coming off contract. I mean, Merrill Kelly maybe, who would have been pitching tomorrow if they'd made it through. But Zach Gallen yesterday was unbelievable. No hits through to 6th inning. And to just give it up the way they did, it was just so sad.
It was.
Still got a number of friends at the Diamondbacks that I met when I was over there in 2018, and been talking to them on Messenger a lot over the last few weeks. And one guy, Jeff, he's been saying, I've been disbelieving every round we go into, and so I'm disbelieving that we'll win the World Series.
It's a bit,
finally it came right.
It's a bit like a Warriors fan. You always think it's just going to be, Well,
no, I mean, they got through some pretty good teams. They
did, man.
The Brewers in the wild card. They swept the Dodgers in the division series.
Killed the Dodgers.
And then won 2 games in Philadelphia to get through the Phillies.
Yep. They did so well. Series. They did so well. So now we go into the next season.
We do. And it's only 139 days till baseball starts again.
So they even get a reasonable holiday, don't they? Even if they play all those
not
games.
really. They've sort of got
World Baseball Classic now, isn't it?
No, it's just that. Well, the spring training. They report for spring training in early February.
Okay.
And it's not the type of sport you can turn up to spring training not having done any work from the
Babe Ruth would have.
like your pitchers will still throw a bullpen every 5 days.
Yeah.
Your hitters will go down and take 100 swings on their holidays. Some will even be doing it on Christmas Day. They'll go. Yeah. Some of them have got indoor nets in their houses.
Far out.
Yeah.
And so is the trade thing underway now, or when does that all happen?
It's free agents were made public yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's all go. Silly.
So what's happening? What's happening to Shohei Ohtani? Where's he going?
I think he's going to end up at the Dodgers.
Oh God.
I think he'll want to stay on the West Coast.
Yep.
Unless,
And they've got the money.
Yeah, and they've got the money.
What about Kershaw then?
Kershaw.
Yeah, because I've heard that he's played his last game for the Dodgers.
I think so. Yeah.
So.
I think he'll be gone. Don't really know. The Dodgers have got quite a lot of younger players still under team control, so won't be too many changes there. I don't think they'll probably sign. Although I think they'll get Ohtani, as I said.
That'd be a massive get, wouldn't it? I mean, okay. And so what about, here's the question for you. What about the New York Yankees? What are they going to do next year? Are they going to flush the last season down the dunny and move on? Or are they going to just carry on? Are they the Manchester United of Major League Baseball?
Oh, the way they're going at the moment, they are, yeah.
I know. All these players, it just seems like they're just not a team, And
well, everybody keeps saying that Giancarlo Stanton's going to come out of his funk that he's been in for the last 3 years. Yeah, that's going to happen. Because he's still getting paid for another 3 years by the Yankees.
Yeah. So is Anthony Martial's coming out of his slump for Manchester United. About the same chances, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. They're going to have to do something. They're obviously not going to change their manager or general manager, which is what needs to happen. It's like the old, who said it? It's sign of stupidity is just
doing the same thing again
and hoping you might get a different result.
Yeah. But sad.
But definitely player personnel. They're going to have to upgrade. They just had too many players underperforming. I mean, they did get rid of Josh Donaldson towards the end of the year. They might just have to bite the bullet and get rid of Stanton and just have to pay him.
Pay him. Pay him and just
they've done it before. They did it with Alex Rodriguez.
Yep.
He still had a year to go on his contract, and they just halfway through the season said thanks for coming.
And Aaron Judge won the Clemente Award.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Yep,
well deserved.
The captain, well done.
Yeah, well deserved. He had an okay season, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he did.
Other than playing in a shit side.
Yeah, and playing with a broken toe for 3 months.
Yeah.
I think the team we're going to see the biggest changes in is San Diego. They spent so much money. In fact, it was released yesterday that they actually the owners made a $50 million loan so they could continue to pay players.
How long did that last?
Make the playoffs.
Yeah,
such a star-studded side. Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado.
Yeah, crazy.
Soto.
What about them? It's them and the Mets, really, aren't they? They're the two complete basket cases, paying so much money and just can't win. It can't even get to the playoffs. Those two teams.
I mean, you look at the two main pitchers for the Astros and the Texas Rangers in the American League Championship Series.
Both playing for other teams.
Both played for the Mets earlier on in the season.
That's right. Oh, the Mets. Man.
Yeah.
They're the gift that keeps giving it for Yankees fans, aren't they? I mean,
absolutely.
Just when you think the Yankees are crap, I mean, you can always look at the Mets. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
You have to look across to Queens.
Anything else? Anything else in baseball?
Just after the Gold Coast racing over the weekend, Shane Van Gisbergen trails Brody Kostecki by 131 points. Only 2 races left. And those 2 races are going to be in Adelaide, which Michelle and I are going to. We've got our corporate tickets sorted.
Nice.
I think 131 points with 2 races is probably a bridge too far.
Probably.
Shane, as he
but Shane knows you're there, so he's going to drive real fast.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's the first race of the season when they had their, their ventilator on the wrong side of the driver's seat and got penalised and had a race taken off them.
Yeah, that's right.
So 150-point race penalty.
And that's about what he's behind, right? So
probably going to play a bigger part than expected.
Yep.
So well done, Supercars, you bunch of twits.
Yeah. They may as well run World Rugby.
Oh, yeah.
Same sort of people, right? Same sort of people.
Yeah. It was the ice box.
It was the other one was the one that when I was watching when they were, was it qualifying? I can't remember whether it was qualifying for the big road. Anyway, when they said that he went over the curb too far, they said he's curbing it, and I was like, I thought that was called motor racing. But anyway,
Yeah. Oh no, that's they need to get rid of those stupid curb rules. It's just
it's some silly rules in supercars.
Why? Because they put the curbs in on the Gold Coast because the car's just going too fast down there.
Yeah, slow them down.
Slow them down.
So the cars hit the curbs, and they say, "Oh, you hit the curb."
Motor racing, not motor car participation.
Unless the car crashed, it got round the corner safely.
Yeah,
I mean that's basically it, isn't it? I mean,
I know.
Anyway,
I know. If only we were in charge, Aaron.
If we were in charge, there'd be no problems. And if there were, we'd listen. We'd listen for a start, wouldn't we? We'd listen and we'd say, how can we fix this?
Yep.
And we'd ask for all the information, and then we'd look at all the information, and we'd talk about the information, and we'd come up with something to sort it all out, wouldn't we, Macca?
And then we would talk to the actual competitors about it. Get their thoughts.
What an idea. And then we'd charge millions of dollars for the great work we did and pat ourselves on the back. And
then in the end, we'd award the World Cup to Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely. Nothing to see here. The players can play in 1,000-degree heat like they're playing on the surface of the sun. Don't worry. It's going to make it real interesting.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's been fine for the last 5,000 days. It'll be fine for the next 5,000. Anyway, on that huge bombshell, time to bring this edition of the Hot Air Sports Podcast to an end. So it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from him. We'll catch you next time.
See you later.